Minecraft has some new structures, and by some, I mean a lot, a ton. An absolute ton of new structures. These are the Bastion Remains. These are in the Nether because, of course, this is the Nether update. And these Bastion Remains are a new structure that is large, crazy, big, and I have every single piece and detail laid out in a world that we can fly around and look at. So here we are inside of Minecraft, and this is what I have been working on for the past 4 hours, 3 hours. But listen, this is what my life has come to. It took so long to make this, okay? Please appreciate it, because I am telling you, as I am flying over every single piece of the Bastion Remains in Minecraft, that it took a long time to place each one of these structures by hand. I didn't have like I'm sure that there's some crazy programmer out there that could have just been like, whoop, 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 let's just make this happen in MC Edit. Well, I can't make that happen. So, oh man, I just spent a long time placing down all of these structure blocks and copying the structures from the Minecraft files in order to have every single structure that is included in the Bastion Remains out here in this world. And as you can see, there are a lot of pieces, a lot of things to look at. We are not going to be able to look at every single thing in this world because there are just so many things. Something that I realized while making this world is that we've had structure blocks for a while, and the Minecraft developers have been using structure blocks in order to make some crazy stuff happen, like the villages, and we also have seen this in the pillager outposts. They have these different connections that will allow you to sort of create a build, like a gigantic jigsaw puzzle. In fact, one of the blocks is called a jigsaw block. And so you can attach these structure files together. With the Bastion Remains, I feel like this has been taken to a whole new level. There are so many different pieces. Looking at all of this stuff and looking at how things are named, like some of them are named like stairways, or that something is rotated, or that this is one type of room, a small version of a room versus a big version of a room. It is obvious that the developers have like taken what have happened with, say, villages and multiplied it by 10. The amount of structures in the Bastion Remains is absurd. So in order to get this yourself, if you want to do that, I don't know why, because I've done it for you. It's all laid out right here. But if you were to do this yourself, you would notice that the structure files for the Bastion Remains, there's a whole bunch of different files. And so I've sort of laid out this world in the same file architecture that the structures are in. So this first line of blocks that have diamonds, and then you can also see the stained glass. These are the files that are containing sort of what is a step behind it. So in this first one, if you looked into the files, you would see a file named blocks, and then inside of that file would be two different structure files. And so we have air and we have gold, and then we place them down and actually build them. That is what they look like. These are just the jigsaw, blocks. So it doesn't look like anything, but if you look into it, you can see that this would turn into air, and this is aptly named air. This one is gold. This one would actually turn into a golden block. So you may see the appropriate jigsaw connector somewhere else on these builds. Maybe there's another jigsaw that says this could either be gold or it could be air, one of the two. So pick it out of this folder of blocks folder, and it'll randomly assign one. That might be something that happens. But anyway, so as we look down here, you'll see that this first line, that is the folder that is encompassing the files. Sometimes there's another folder. So inside of here, inside of the bridges folder, there's another folder named bridge pieces, and then inside of bridge pieces, there is this file, it's so hard to get over there, named bridge, and this is the structure file that is inside of that. There's another folder called connectors, and then inside of that, you got two different connectors in there. So that is how you sort of understand what's going on here with the blocks in the front. Then we moved on to a new file, Hoglin Stables, and inside of there, there's a file. And then later on, there's a folder. And then later on, inside of that folder, there's probably another folder. So you can see how I've laid that out for you. I'm going to plan on having this world as a download so that you guys can look at it. So if you're ever wondering, wow, this is a really cool thing that I'm looking at, where would this be? Well, you can move to the front. You can see the name of whatever structure that is at the very bottom. So this is Rampart 0. And then you can see that that Rampart 0 is in the Ramparts folder inside of the Bridges folder. So this is a Rampart 0 bridge rampart thing. Right here, right off the top, this is one of my, I feel like the coolest of all of the structure files. It's in the bridge pieces, and then bridge file folder. This is so confusing. But this structure includes this ridiculous golden statue full of gold. You would get so much gold if you found one of these. Oh man, that just like makes my mouth water just like looking at all that gold. That's incredible. Also, this is another one of my favorites. This is inside of the bridge folder, inside of the starting pieces folder, and then it's called the entrance. And the entrance has all of this crazy lava. I actually found one of these in the snapshot video where I showed off the Bastion remains, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love how this lava is flowing and falling. And so there it is. It's called an entrance, which is kind of neat. There's another type right next to it. This is a entrance base. And then we also have an entrance face, entrance base and entrance face. And so you could really spend some time to get to know these different pieces that, okay, so this is definitely one of those really weird sort of maze-like structures that is, you know, it has a few hollow passageways, and you can easily get lost in it. Holy moly, I'm getting lost so fast. Also, you'll notice some of the logic that is behind how these are actually created. So right here, this is a new folder. This is the Hogland Stables folder. Inside of that, there is a file just named Airbase. Airbase. They can fly? What? They have a base in the sky? And this is a huge area that just consists of two jigsaw pieces. And so you can see Hogland Stable wall bases and Hogland Stable starting pieces is really all this is. So basically this is plotting out a big area that this base, the base would be full of air. It's just completely full of air. So that is how something would get started. Another interesting piece is one, I gotta go find it. This one right here, and I've switched into spectator mode, so it makes it a little bit easier. This is underneath the treasure folder inside of the brains folder. Zombies, what? And it's called the center brain. And this is an area that is just filled with a whole bunch of jigsaw pieces, all sort of telling the rest of this where to go, what to do, which I think is so interesting that they're using this. I almost wonder, is this the center of anything ever? Like they put down this brain piece and then it goes crazy from there. Here's another big open area right next to the treasures. Treasure, I guess it should be called. Treasure has the biggest area. So I tried to color code the stained glass depending on what it was and sort of do some similar colors based off of the subfolders. You can see that the treasure area goes on forever. It is so big, and there are a lot of subfolders inside of them. Some of them don't really make sense. Like there's some weird subfolders. Let me show some weirdness off. Also some weird naming conventions too. So I'll show all that off. This is probably the weirdest one. Inside of the units, inside of Sages, there is a folder called Rot. That Rot folder only has a single thing inside of it called Stage 10. So I assumed ROT stands for rotation. So maybe this is a stage that has been rotated, but I don't understand why. That doesn't make any sense because many of these have mirrored in the name. So why wouldn't this be like the stage 10 mirrored or rot and whatnot? So I don't understand. Also, almost all of the names have, you know, an _1, and then as they go on, they increase, you know, one number, but they start at 0. So they have _0 at the beginning, and that's because computers tend to start counting at 0. And so that actually makes sense to me. That makes a ton of sense. But like over here, Ramparts, they don't have a 0. Why? Oh, that's just an impost. Why no 0 ramparts? Rampart plate 1 also doesn't have a 0, but then you get back over here, enter, and then it starts with 0. It's pretty obvious that these are all made by humans, and humans make mistakes. Maybe Rampart 0 just didn't work out. Maybe it was a bad build. They just deleted it. Not sure, but it definitely doesn't, follow a whole bunch of logic in the naming space. Also, this was super frustrating. Inside of the Hoglin stable, there's an area called starting pieces. Inside of that, there are stairs that are mirrored, except that this is within so many different files. Bastion, Hoglin stable, starting pieces, stairs, _0 mirrored, that it will not fit into the structure block anymore. I have hit the limit of what can actually be stored inside of a structure block. So I had to make sure to delete the .minecraft thing at the beginning, which was very, very frustrating. They use so many files and sub-files and then really long names that it was really difficult to get some of this stuff into the actual world. Okay, enough frustrations. Let's actually take a look at some of these pieces and some of the cool things. This is probably one of the coolest. This is the lava basin for the treasure area, and you can also see this is the treasure air base. Big air full is what it's called. So this would, I guess, clear away a big air filled area. But this is the area that actually has the spawner for the magma cubes, and it looks so awesome. It has this crazy bridge inside of here, and then on each of these you can kind of see that this would be a piglin with melee. This is an area for the brains of treasure and stuff like that. So this area is one of the ones that is going to be like, most often seeked out because it'll have all of the treasure inside of it. But here you can see this is a jigsaw for treasure bases center. So we can go find that. And actually here it is, bases. So we have this centers folder. So each one of these might actually be, it just happened to be right next to it, in the center here, and it would fill that space. So which type of treasure are you gonna get? You're gonna get 1 of 4 of these type of center pieces, which is just so cool. And you can actually look into the various different chests here and see what is inside, and then of course all of the different gold. So you could kind of imagine, okay, what is the rarest one that would spawn, which one would have the most gold blocks in the world generation, and you can really start to think about all that sort of stuff. Also, I love this. This is an entrance to the treasure area, and it totally looks like a skull face thing. So awesome. I really have a new appreciation for how much work has gone into the Bastion Remnants now that I've done this exercise of putting every single structure inside of this world. The treasure ramparts are also really cool. So we're inside of the treasure folder, inside of the ramparts folder, and this is where you get these crazy lava pits I've seen a few times. And so underneath those lava pits there is a ton of space and a ton of stuff. I'm just gonna go into spectator mode here, and oh, there's actually this would be hollow. Guess it's not. It's full. It's full. I guess this first rampart, that definitely has some space inside of it. But, well, that's a good thing to know, is underneath these lava pits, if you're just trying to farm some type of, black rock, then, oh my gosh, right underneath those, just farm away. Also, when just looking at the file structure, it really makes it pretty obvious that there are only 4 different types of structures. So I'm starting at the end here, but units, this is sort of the homes for the piglins. So you got some farms inside of here. You have a few little areas to hang out, but then the biggest area that has the most space, this is inside of a unit called stages, and then you can see all the different sort of stages, stage 0 there, but this would be another type of home type of thing. So each one of these is just an area with an upper and a lower floor, and then they keep going and going and going, and then you have even more stages back here. So you can see that units would be some type of piglin home type of situation. Then you also have treasure. This would obviously be the rooms dedicated to all of the different loot. And so you have the piglin homes, then you also have treasure so that you can actually, you know, get a ton of loot. And all of these areas have lots and lots and lots of chests for you to loot and lots of gold blocks. Next is Hoglin stables, and this is where I guess the Hoglins would live. So, you know, them Hoglins be bred and kept alive for food and whatnot. This has a big area dedicated to stair types. So you can see stairs 2 out of 4. And so you have lots and lots and lots of different stairs, which would, you know, go up vertically. And you can kind of see that these work in such a way that you'd be able to move up them. And if they were stacked on top of one another, you could continue to rise up and up. And then finally is the area called Bridge. And obviously that is dedicated to bridges. There's even some of these pillars right here, which would allow them to go down into the lava. And you have your big bridge areas. There's 2 other big folders. Those are the blocks, which we showed off at the beginning. And then in between the Hoglin stables and the treasure area, there's another one called mobs. And it's itty bitty. See right here, you can almost lose it in between these big areas. And this is just a whole bunch of connectors for the different types of mobs. Crossbow piglin, hoglin, melee piglin always, and a sword piglin. So you have those different mobs that may spawn inside of the bastion, obviously. I think that is all I have to say about this crazy project. I hope that this was useful for some people because it took me a lot of work. I mean, let's just start on this end and fly to the other end. It took me a lot of work. I can't imagine how much work it is to actually build all of these different pieces and then have it go together to actually make an area to go and explore. Quite astonishing how much work has gone into the new structures inside of the Nether update. Thanks so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. I hope that you enjoyed it. Check a link in the description for the world file so that you can fly around this and explore it yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye!